This is Crystal. Can you hear me? Okay.
Okay, so 7:00, meeting starting at 7:02. Lee Wessler, chairperson here. Everybody say your name, who's here?
Crystal Adams here.
Lori Barefoot here.
Jordan Stern here.
Beth Bernard here.
Ruby Sinkowski here.
Maura?
Roby here.
Okay, so I don't see any alternates to seat, and there's no public to participate. So, can everyone have a chance to look at last month's minutes, and is there a motion to approve them?
This is Ruby. I'll motion that we approve the minutes.
This is Crystal. I second that.
Okay, anyone have any discussion or comments? Hey, all in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Was everybody there? Well, actually, Lori, you weren't technically part of it last month, so you can't vote on that.
Okay, but I was there.
Yeah, but you weren't there as a member, so.
No,
yeah.
correct. A member.
Okay, right. Now you're a member. Okay, did Grace give you the treasurer's book, Crystal?
She said it is the same as last month. And so let me get those minutes. So last month it was $1,844.38 in the budget and $2,161.10 in the special revenue account. That was last month's report, and Grace said nothing has changed.
Okay.
This is Jordan. We don't get interest in anything? Interest.
Right.
Don't we get interest?
We probably got a few pennies.
Yeah.
I mean, I think we're just in a savings account. So, but that's a good question. Save it for next month and ask Grace, where's the interest going? Okay, chairperson's report. Welcome, Lori. And we have another alternate coming, Cynthia. So we'll, we're going to be up to full capacity, which is amazing.
Great.
Okay, communications. Grace isn't here. I'm going to go back to my email, so I'm disappearing for a sec. I got a correspondence from Jean Pillow on behalf of ECCD. Let me get that. Mailboxes. And she's requesting that we send a letter of support for they're doing a Natchog inventory. And I apologize, my screen is locked and I can't get to my mail. And Jean's not, hey, give me 1 sec. I'm gonna go to my browser and see if I can access my email that way.
Jean just called me. She didn't have the agenda to log in, so I'm gonna forward it to her.
Okay.
It's always posted on the town website also, so anyone can just go there and download it.
Good to know. Sometimes they can get lost in piles of email.
Computers can be a pain in the butt sometimes. Okay, so Jean wrote that she's requesting a letter of support for a grant proposal for funding of ECCD for a Natchog Healthy Watershed Advisory Board. The ECCD is preparing a grant application for a small river network grant focused on partnership building technical assistance. This grant would provide funding and support of ECCD staff time to facilitate the formation of this advisory board and coordination services of this board for a year. It would also include technical assistance from river network professionals for assistance focused on board continuity and partnership engagement. Any technical assistance they provide for this project will be transferred to other projects ECCD is engaged with, including efforts in the Little River. So she's asking, and she actually drafted a letter on behalf of the commission to support, their effort. So anyone have any, oh, Jean's here. Anyone have any questions for Ms. Pillow or any comments? Jean, you have anything to say?
I missed the whole precursor. I apologize for my being late. The email that got sent to me disappeared, so I couldn't find the login information. I just thought it would be in my inbox. Basically, the project is to start to implement the Natchog Healthy Watershed Protection Plan by providing funding for the time for ECCDs to start up the advisory board, which is one of the key recommendations in the plan for implementing it. And we were looking for support from the communities, and Woodstock being one of the 8 towns in the watershed. I'm asking for that support. If you recall, we do similar work in Little River watershed, and in Little River, it's been very helpful to have us overseeing implementation of watershed plans, because it's brought millions of dollars into the town to work on projects. So we'd love the ability to do that type of work in the other side of town. But, we just need funding to pay for our time.
Great. Does anyone have any questions or comments on this, or does anyone have a motion to support a letter?
I have a question. It's Lori. Is the cost of that available yet, or is it to be determined?
The grant that we're going to apply for is for $5,000, and that's just to do initial meeting setups, advertising, some workshops and stuff and such. So that's the kind of work we do at the district, but we have to raise funds to be able to do our work through grants.
Excellent.
Gina, it looks like you're in some Russian mobster's basement.
I'm sorry. I'm on my tablet today, so.
Oh, you're pointing up at the ceiling. There's something going around there. Lights blinking.
Good cop, bad cop.
Hey, anyone want to make any more comments, or anyone want to make a motion?
Yes, I'm not understanding what kind of the support you need is a letter.
I'm writing a grant, so to get this funding, and the grant writers will accept 2 letters of support for this application. And the letter that is been provided for Lee to consider signing basically spells out how this project would benefit the town of Woodstock.
And would it be the commission doing this letter, or would it have to be the Board of Selectmen doing the letter?
No, the Conservation Commission would be acceptable.
So have you already written this letter?
I've written a draft for Lee to consider, which he has every right to edit at his discretion.
No, I would never step on your toes, Jean.
This is Beth. I make a motion to write and sign the letter for this proposal.
And this is
Very
Ruby.
nice.
I'll second it. Oh, go ahead.
Okay.
Jordan.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstentions?
I abstain.
Oh, Jean abstains, right?
And I think
Oh.
Maura, if Maura's on the call, she probably abstains too.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Let the record show Jean and Maura abstain. I sent a letter for, as far as last month, as far as the budget goes, I sent a letter supporting continued town membership with ECCD to Karen Fitzpatrick, and she was happy with it. So I think everything will be continued the way it was. And then I communicated with Jeff Gordon as far as the new DRC checklist goes. And unfortunately, my first email got buried in his spam. So I had to wait a few weeks to be polite and I sent him a new email saying, did you happen to see it? And he hadn't, so I'm waiting to hear from him. And while I was writing to him, I also reminded him that it's amazing how time flies, but it's been several years since we sent that Aquifer overlay proposal for PNC to review, which they've yet to do. So I kind of lit a little fire under him to give us an answer. And I told him we hope to be involved with the new drought person, the whoever's running the drought plan for Woodstock. And I can see in the future where we're going to be involved with that. So I thought getting that Aquifer overlay approved, be in our best interest. Anyone get any other communications or comments?
This is Crystal Adams, and I was flat out today. I didn't have a chance to check our mailbox.
Okay, that's okay.
I got a bunch of communications with stewardship, but we could address them at stewardship.
Okay. Okay, so moving on to old business, I mentioned the DRC that I sent to the update I sent to Jeff. We didn't meet last month. Anything to comment on, Jean?
Maybe this should have come under communications. We have an email address, a Gmail address that's associated with our website. And someone had contacted that address asking about activity on English Neighborhood Road. Ruby.
Yeah, I got that. I directed them back to P&Z because it's really not our jurisdiction.
I took what you said, Lee, and I just copy pasted it to a response to them, directing them to P&Z, and also stated that, Jean, you had looked into the building department. We hadn't heard back. And
I did hear back this morning.
Oh, good.
Wetlands had already gone, they have approached Wetlands for a 3-lot subdivision at that location. But it has not been an application for planning and zoning yet.
Well, 3 lots is still only a minor subdivision, right?
Until I see the application, I don't know if there's any open space associated with it, but yes, 3 lots would be a minor subdivision.
Okay. Okay, so we have to wait and see. Any questions for Jean?
So directing that person to P&Z will still get them the knowledge that they're seeking, correct?
I think direct them to the building office because that's where the applications come through. Like I said, I haven't seen it yet. I hadn't been notified of it, but it was something that Wetlands reviewed and I didn't, she sent me the link to the minutes, but I was at work and focused on work stuff, so I didn't open the link.
Yeah, I think it's okay to, you know, P&Z would be interested in comments on building sites. They're, you know, that's part of their meetings is getting comments from neighbors.
I don't know if this is going to a public hearing because I didn't open the meeting minutes. So, you know, if this person would like to comment at a public hearing, that would be their opportunity if it's a wetlands issue.
Yeah. Well, P&Z will know where to send them.
Okay.
Crystal, anything with open space?
Nope.
Okay. P&Z, I went over the minutes. They didn't talk about any subdivisions or anything else we're involved in. Did you see anything, Jean?
No, I did look through it and I didn't see anything that was worthy of comment.
Okay. Grace isn't here for the Ag Commission. Stewardship, Beth or Ruby?
Beth, did you get out to that one?
I have not yet.
Okay.
No. When are you off the commission, Ruby?
Whenever it expires, which I've reached out to figure out when that is, I haven't heard back. So it could be a year from now, as far as I know.
Oh, okay. I thought it would be
I just want
like,
to keep my commitment, whatever it is, whenever it comes up, that's going to be it for me. I'm going to go travel.
okay.
Yeah, well, I hope we'll all be able to travel because we don't have to worry about COVID. This is concerning me because she's our webmaster.
Well, that's yeah. So, you know, I wouldn't leave you in a lurch. I can do the webmastering from wherever, but until we find somebody who wants to do it. But and I could switch to being an alternate or something if it came to something like that in the end. But at any rate,
if we can have a member from New Zealand, you know, if you're in the States, you could Zoom us.
Yeah, you know, as far as that goes, yeah, okay.
Well, in terms of stewardship,
but maybe there'd be somebody who wants to join, who wants to be here. And so that would be, it's because we got a whole group here now, and you know, there might be others.
Well, Pam would move up
right
into your spot, and we look for another alternate.
Yeah, there you go. Right.
So what Ruby does that's really helpful, because Maura and I both work, you know, kind of the 9-to-5 jobs, and we can never get to the town hall when it's open. And so she's kind of like our information guru, and so she's looking on the list and on the maps and going to town hall if she needs to, that kind of thing, and basically helping us figure out where to go next. So yeah. If we have a year, we have a year. We have plenty of time to figure that out. But if there's anyone else who has those hours open when the town hall is also open, and it just makes it more convenient. Otherwise, we can figure it out. But.
And having an opportunity to show the person what it is I'm dealing with, this master list, which is almost, it's every time I go back to it, it's like going like some sort of mystery tour. And
that thing makes my brain explode.
Figure it out. It's just, you know, and the one, Maura, that you said, just go and use that one. It's like, no, I can't. It's 30 acres and we're only dealing with the easement. The conservation easement is a little under 4 acres spread across all these different parcels. And I finally found, like I said in the email today, that I found that there's a map, that there's a survey map. So I then reached out to Crystal, who pushed me over to Christine, right? Did I have her name right this time? Christine, yeah. And Christine's gonna help me tomorrow. So that's all good. So I'll get back to you on that one, but I sent you 2 more properties in case that one just takes longer. 2 more properties that appear to be ready to go as long as you look at them and you don't spot it as being locals, knowing, oh no, this is blah, blah, blah. You know, so I'm just waiting for you to look at it and tell me if there's something weird about it. And if not, then I have all the abutters, and I'll start the mailing of the abutters, and then we'll need a week after that. But we got a lot of communication on this one that I think Beth's going on her own, right, Mara? Because you can't go.
Yeah, I can't go right now.
GROCCIA. I don't know how that's pronounced.
Unless Lori wants to come.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
what
Lori does want to come.
we were just discussing just before the meeting started that I am happy to join any of these stewardship excursions. So I also work sort of a 9 to 5 job. So the part about going to the town hall during usual hours, that's rough, but walking, that's that can be done and would be something I'd like.
And I think it'd be great to have at least 3 people on it, because there's always one person who's out, and I hate to see one person walk a property by themselves, especially this time of year when people are deer hunting.
Right.
And the owner of the property that Beth is going to go do, he's a deer hunter. And he initially, I sent the letters out, and I got several communications back for abutters and the owner. The owner didn't want to let us do it. He says, can I just refuse you and you can't come on my property? I said, no. So that's why you got such a sweet price on that property, Chris. And he kind of giggled and he says, I figured as much. He seems like a real nice guy, but if he could say no to anybody, he's the one to say no. But he wants to go along. He wants to go along. Other people want to go along. I've sent all the people who want to go along. So who want to understand, which I think is great, want to understand that they have conservation land abutting their property and want to understand it and know what it looks like. And so they could actually be people who would then notify us if something was going south.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully you don't tend to want to have an abutter necessarily as the steward, because it's like putting the fox in charge of the hen house, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
For some people, you know, that if they're dumping, you know, oh yeah, I'm the steward, this is fine. But so that's typically when I've worked for land trust, they don't do that. But certainly, I don't know.
Definitely be people who just narc other people out. You know, so busybodies. We need all the busybodies in the world.
Please repeat the name of the property owner, the property that you're.
It's Christopher, GROCCIA. I think that's right. I'm going off my memory.
Is this off of Center Cemetery?
Oh Lord, don't ask me. I don't know what it's off of.
I can't remember that name.
Because you know every single person in town, Jean?
Probably.
Well, when it came to the open space list that I made, yeah, I have familiarity with it.
Yeah, she has a lot of familiarity. That list is cray-cray. That's all I gotta say. I want you to own it. I want you to come over to my house and break the code.
He made the list, didn't you? You helped make that.
Are you talking about that big spreadsheet?
Yes. Yes.
Blame Jean.
Well, Jean and a bunch of other people touched it. All kinds of people touched that list.
Yeah, Beth Zimmerman worked on it with me. And we were trying to, and some of those things we put on the list and they aren't open space anymore because I don't know what happened. The subdivision didn't get filed properly and it expired, and I don't know what happens to those.
Right, which was alarming for me to even know that. So every time I do a property, I go out and I find the deed, I read the deed, I see if there's anything, if I can see that anything's been attached, like it's passed to a different owner and then it gets a different number. And to the extent that I know the system, which is not at all just what I've learned from doing this, I try to figure out the history behind the property and if it's still, you know, and then I send a letter to the property owner. So that would be another way for them to say, you know. But so I've tried to cover all the bases in that way and just see that everything's timely and that there is actually a conservation easement or an open space part of any deed before I send anybody out to walk it.
You're doing an incredible job, Ruby. We waited years to get something like this done. So
Yeah.
I'm going to give you a year advance warning, but you will be sorely missed.
Oh, well, thank
I
you.
agree because, you know, she sends out the letters to the abutters. I mean, it's just, it's necessary, you know, for us to do. Jordan, oh my God, he got took over by aliens.
Yeah, I like it.
Sorry.
I'm trying to get my my screen resolution lighter. It's so dark. I don't know what's happening here. I'm playing
You were trying to get your green screen.
Not on video. Okay, I'll be live too, even though I look like that.
Ruby, do you use the GIS on NECOG at all?
Yes, yes,
Okay.
I absolutely do. And this one that I just, that's why I know the one that we're having all the trouble with, that I'm not willing to let you, you know, just send out letters to, because I know something's not right with it. It was going out on that just tells me I'm not understanding something. The numbers are off. The numbers on acreage are off. The number of the plots are off. You know, it's just not making any sense. So I want
that's common in all different parts of town. I know that the president of the New Roxbury Land Trust is very frustrated because of a bunch of properties she's trying to research that just don't show up on the GIS at NECOG. So it's not
Might be the same one she's dealing with. It's the subdivision on 198 by the new Rocks. Is that the one that she's? Jean, do you know?
The subdivision by 198
off of 198 next the New Roxbury Land Trust is the
that subdivision space. Got rescinded, but the open space still belongs to the New Roxbury Land Trust.
Oh, well,
where is the open space? That's what I'm trying to figure out. Where on that?
No,
that map is incorrect.
No, we know where the New Roxbury Land Trust is, but she doesn't know on each individual parcel there's an easement too. You're saying that got rescinded?
That you could talk to Valerie Aieto about that. If you're talking about the one on 198, which the New Roxbury Land Trust refers to as Border Woods, which is kind of across from Beaver Pines Campground. Is that what you're talking about?
Yep.
Okay, that subdivision got canceled, but the open space it still belongs to the New Roxbury Land Trust.
Ruby, that subdivision got canceled. That's why you can't find anything.
You're muted, Ruby. You're muted.
Thank you. I figured that much when, you know, I couldn't find other aspects that go usually with subdivisions. But the issue is it says it's 30 acres and the conservation easement is under 4 acres. So out of that 30 acres, where is the 4 acres? Is it like a 100-foot conservation easement that goes along the road? I'm unclear. But I'm going to have a survey map, so I don't want to talk about it anymore. I'll have a survey map. And
okay. Well, like I said, I don't know if that easement will still be valid if the whole subdivision.
It goes with, it travels with, from my reading of it, it travels. So if they sell it, it travels, it's sitting there. It's sitting there in an open space easement.
Yeah, that whole area up where the cedar swamp is because there's a lot of landlocked pieces. The GIS does not correspond perfectly to the deeds. And there are people who have deeds, but there's no parcel to go with it on the GIS map. So
well, the one that I sent you guys today, the 2 properties I sent you today, the number used for that is not correct. There's another number though that matches the acreage perfectly, which is referred to. So I know that Jean or whoever found that. And just so the one number is useful for one reason, the other number is useful for the GIS map, but I'm certain in looking at, and then I went out and looked up through Google Earth, and I could tell it was conservation land because it was not built on, or it looked beautiful and everything looked good. You know, might be able to steward it from, no, you don't, I didn't, you can tell when they've last been there, and when Google's last been there and seen it. I don't know if we could use that to steward land or not.
Steward from space.
Drones.
Yeah. Hey, any other questions for Ruby, or any comments on stewardship?
Just a quick one, Lori, or anyone actually. Something that's always on my radar is just trying to keep an eye on the 50-acre wood property, the trails on there, which is on Pond Factory. So if you ever feel like a hike, just feel free to head over there.
I actually biked that property on Friday. Went
Nice.
biking through it. It was very nice.
That's excellent.
So you're able to mountain bike on that trail?
Yeah, and actually that 50-acre trail I was able to actually on the bike most of the time. I also went out on the Muddy Pond side of the new trail that they're putting in, the Connecticut Forest
and Parks Association.
And Parks people. I ended up biking a little bit and hiking with a bike for most of it. But the 50-acre wood trails were really nice.
It would be great if I could go with somebody to see what are the things you look for. What specifically then do you do to report back? And I'd just like to see what the process is. And
can Laura go with you at this property that you're going to go to next?
Yeah, I would like that, especially if Maura can't go. I'd rather have a second there. So are you already connected into the emails? No, you're not. I don't think. So we can connect.
She was on there.
Okay. So we'll make sure you're connected in with the emails, and we can set a date together.
That sounds great. I'm definitely on emails, like for the meeting minutes and whatnot. I received that, and for the agenda tonight. But I don't understand yet what is the process for how you're notified about new properties and which properties are require stewardship.
That would be me.
Okay, you know, those are your.
I notify you. Yeah. And then you tell me what you know and keep me from sending you somewhere you've already been.
That's fantastic. Great.
Is there any need for the stewardship committee to have access to the GPS unit that's owned by the Conservation Commission? It's a Garmin.
What's happening?
That's not my house for this time.
Jean, it's good to know that it exists. So if we need it, do you have it?
No, it's in the closet at the town hall, but it was missing for a bunch of years. And then I was in the closet at the town hall looking for medallions for the markers with crystal, and I found it in the back on the bottom shelf. So I know where it is now.
And I can always get it for whoever needs it.
Okay. So, yeah, I don't think we need it right now. I mostly have been using an app and whatever other info we have, but we'll let you know.
Okay.
Anything else on stewardship? Moving on to Pollinator Pathway Project. Any updates on that, Jean?
Yeah, I found a nice little booklet on making pollinator gardens for small yards. And I sent the link to Ruby and she put it up on our website. So it's now available to people. And the Quiet Corner Garden Club and the New Roxbury Land Trust each asked me to write an article for their newsletter about the Pollinator Pathway Initiative. So I did that this month. The newsletters have not come out yet, but that's going to give us some more publicity on this. And I found out that there's a Woodstock Grows Facebook group. So I've been chatting the project up on that Facebook social media site. And we had talked about maybe having a speaker doing a Zoom meeting. Unfortunately, that's our only option. Again, this spring to get people excited about this, but we never picked a speaker or anything like that. So does anybody have any preference about what they would like to know about pollinators to get more people, excited about this project? I mean, Maura in the past has brought in a speaker from the Xerces Society. And the speaker that she brought in one time did an excellent program. There's John LaRussa, who's the Master Gardener Coordinator with Windham County. And he's done a great program about pollinators for the district in the past. And I'm sure we could ask him maybe if he'll do something. I don't think we need to have the whole big spiel about the pollinator pathway. It's already on our website, so people can watch that. But yeah, get people to start seeing things, get excited about growing when they're planting their gardens, to think about putting pollinator plants out in their gardens. This is a good time to have a program like that. Maybe March.
Yeah.
What would interest the group if we were to bring in a speaker?
That's a Zoom?
It would have to be Zoom. We can't do live meetings.
Jean, I would be very interested to know what other people who successfully participated in the pollinator pathway, what they're seeing as a result of the gardens that they've planted. Are they seeing specific birds, increase in birds, more butterfly? What exactly are they seeing? I did see what was on the website. I thought it was great. So I saw that there's butterflies and whatnot, but I didn't know if there were other people in the area or nearby that have already reported huge successes in what they're seeing.
Well, I didn't know a lot about bees. I mean, I knew honeybees and I knew bumblebees, and there's other things that go on flowers. That was my extent of my knowledge.
Yeah.
The Pollinator Pathway Project really makes you look at your flowers and who visits them. It gives you a heightened interest in it. So last year, after I started this project, I really started to pay attention and photo document the types of pollinators that were coming to my gardens. And some things look like they could be on the cantina at, in a Star Wars movie. I mean, they're so strange looking in terms of their structures and such. But it was amazing to me to see the diversity of insects and birds and other things. Ants were on flowers, which I never thought of ants as being pollinator species, but they do feed on pollen and by chance spread pollen to other flowers. So I guess it's a matter of who you are, because I'm going to sit there and stare at my flowers. If they're going to tell me the native version of a flower versus a cultivar is going to attract more pollinators, I'll actually sit there for a half hour and say, yeah, I saw more here, or I didn't, or they look the same. They were going to both equally, but not everybody is like that. Mm-hmm. One day I spent 20 minutes watching how many different types of insects were like hitting on the little tiny white flowers on my winterberry plant. And it was dozens of types. So they're there. The pollinators in our area are here, but I don't think anybody's paying attention to them. And this is where you get people to pay attention.
Yeah.
And so there'll be opportunities like there were last year. I'm sure DEEP, they did a BioBlitz for a week in June, where they just asked people to go out and take as many pictures of pollinators as they could. So I participated in that. That's why I was watching the winterberry for 20 minutes. So getting people excited about it and then saying, oh, wait a minute, these are important. And the majority of things on these flowers are not honeybees. And that's kind of the purpose of it. So then if you start saying, okay, these things are important for pollinating and we love the birds that eat those berries, so we need to have the insects that pollinate those flowers. And now you're starting to think, well, what do you need to know about those bees and their life cycles? And many of them are ground nesters. And if you put like grub killer in your lawn, you kill those bees. So those connections need to be made. And there's opportunities to do that through this project.
Yeah. Well, I think a lot of people are visual learners. And so
right.
whatever can be done to capture by photograph what you're seeing and what other people are seeing, I think people are interested. And then if you can tell the story about what's in the photo, that's that does cause excitement and more interest in having the same from other people. I love the project. I think it's fantastic.
Thank you. Lee, did I give a slideshow? I put together, I'm pretty sure I did for Celebrating Ag Day, but I wasn't there representing the Conservation Commission that year. But when we first put out the Pollinator Pathway Initiative, did I have a slide, a loop of different insects and flowers and stuff, native plants?
I know we did.
This last one?
No, it would have been a year. It wasn't, it would have been 2019.
Okay.
And you must have, because that was one of our featured subjects.
I'm pretty sure that we did that at Celebrating Ag Day. Have you ever been to Celebrating Ag Day, Lori?
No.
Celebrating Ag Day, unfortunately, we couldn't have it last September, but it's typically an annual event, and it's at the Woodstock Fairgrounds, and it's a kind of fair, but it's more focused on agriculture than on carnival rides and blooming onions, because it only farmers can sell their goods at this fair. And it's an event where there's a lot of outreach for farms and organizations that support farmers and such. And they'll have farm equipment out there so people can look at them. They have a game of logging, which is a fascinating thing to watch. People who compete on their accuracy skills when they're felling a tree. Sorry, cat. So, I mean, it's a great event, but every year we do something at this event, and we've been getting more high tech in recent years by putting a big monitor up and looping some kind of slideshow on that monitor to catch people's eyes, because we need to draw them in, and technology seems to do that more.
Yeah,
and,
that was the first year I think I was here, because you did have a loop on that. And it seemed like everybody had a pollinator pathway thing going on. It was like 5 different ones at that.
And it's such a big topic, you know. Last Green Valley, I believe, is going to include pollinators as a focus in their In Touch magazine this spring. So, I mean, there's, you know, it's something we really need to be focusing on. And as we're focusing on pollinator, if you're making better habitat for pollinators, that means you're not using herbicides, pesticides, and fertilizers. So therefore, as a side effect, you're improving water quality too. Right. So there's so many different, you know, roles this particular project can do. And so, yeah, I want to bring somebody back in as a speaker to talk about native plants and or pollinators or both. And I just want to know what would interest you guys, because if I can get you guys to attend, maybe other people come too.
But I agree with Lori. If you show pictures of pollinator plants and what insects that they attract, like that would be interesting.
Well, I don't know their names. So
I know,
to bring somebody else in.
No, you get somebody to give the talk. I thought you were looking for a speaker.
Yeah, I would like to do that.
Yeah.
You
More,
mentioned that one guy.
Jean, we had a speaker from the Garden in the Woods at Goodwin, New England Wildflower Society up in Mass. They're stellar, talking about native plants and pollen. They helped us build a pollinator garden at Goodwin. They would probably charge money, but you could definitely check them out. And I personally would love to meet or get either a virtual or in-person tour of a Woodstock residents pollinator garden. Like,
I would too.
Just to see
well.
what other people do.
Absolutely. And I think it would be so much fun to see any time-lapse photography that people might do if someone is interested in starting pollinator garden and they haven't done it yet. Look at the space before. You know, like those flip cards that you do if you're like looking at baseball moves.
You know, Lori, that's something you could do as a beginner and interested in start a garden from scratch and keep track of it, and then eventually show everybody what you did.
I'm not really at scratch right now. It's something I've always done, but I can always add more. So I could pick a spot that needs more.
Last fall, I opened up my property as part of the Walktober events with the Last Green Valley, and I set it up for self-tours so that I can stagger when people arrived, and then I sent them along a pathway that had signs on it so they can look at things, read about it while they're out in the field. But that way there were no big groups because of COVID. And I've been asked to repeat it in the spring during spring outdoors. And I haven't decided if I'm going to do it or not, but it's a possibility. I got about 15 people show up last fall.
That sounds
like what I did was I set up our tripod display that talks about the project. And I gave an introduction every time people came in, and then I just send them around. I only have 5 acres of property, and I would just point out things that are important for pollinators and with the signs, and they could read it and, you know, absorb it as they're standing there. But for me to tell you, oh, here's a native bee nest, like, I don't know where they are. I don't know where they go. They move too damn fast. And I don't know what kind of butterflies will be around because, you know, I haven't quite sequenced that. But I am.
Maybe you could make that part of you could have the virtual slideshow or whatever with the expert, and then you could have that be like part 2 that they could tour your yard to see examples.
I mean, I have a few pollinator gardens that are not exclusively native, but there's a lot of native plants in there. And I'm taking a part of my lawn and converting it over time into a meadow by introducing native plants into it. So there's a couple different things I have going on this spring, including I'd collected wildflower seeds last fall, and I now have them outside in milk jugs doing something called winter sowing so that they'll germinate at their natural time without mice and birds eating the seeds off the ground. And I also made some seed bombs, which are clay and compost mixed together. And then you put the seeds in it, and then you just toss them around random places and hope that new native plants will grow up out of them. So there's a few things that I've been doing this year that I could talk about, but
that kind of thing is particularly interesting because that didn't cost very much probably, but from what you're describing, and people are really interested in how they can save some money, but still do something like this. And you just described some really cool stuff that people don't know.
Well, I try. Maybe when I get that Woodstock Conservation Commission website on Facebook page, remember the password to get onto it. Also get that started and start sharing that and expanding the audience. Yeah. And then we can really put a big focus on that.
As the project grows, and as more people participate, they'll eventually run out of space in their small gardens, and then they can share their plants with other people.
Yes, that's, I also do plant exchanges. That's a big thing too.
Great.
And I'm constantly reading stuff on native plants and native bees and native butterflies and stuff. That's just my interest. So
awesome.
So, all right. So I'll look into getting a speaker for March and see if we can get some interest in it. And again, Ruby, I'll work with you on getting the Facebook thing, the password that I put someplace, but that was a long time ago. So I need to get that going, and I'll start joining groups as Woodstock Conservation Commission so that we can share stuff, you know, rapidly, because I have a lot of material to share.
Okay, anything else for Jean?
Any other questions about pollinator pathway?
Any more questions on pollinator pathway? Yeah. Okay, moving on to Crystal, Sustainable Connecticut.
So Sustainable Connecticut has a new action category on homelessness. And they're having a webinar on Thursday, February 4th on My Town Cares, local efforts to address and prevent homelessness. And they're also doing a webinar on co-designing segregation in Hartford County. And I think I had emailed information about an upcoming Sustainable Connecticut workshop to Tina and to Jeff, because it was kind of related to zoning and P&Z issues. I don't think they attended, but you know, if I see an upcoming training come in that I think is relevant to a particular board or commission, I'm trying to share that with them.
Great. Any questions for Crystal? Okay, then the 2021 budget's on the agenda, but we took care of that last month. So, an old business, Jean, so the Facebook page, is that available right now, or you haven't gotten that up yet?
Ruby had set it up and we were ready to use it, but then we were told we couldn't have our own Facebook page. So she took it down, deactivated it. And then we were told we could have it. And I just haven't been able to, excuse me, the dog wants to go outside. We never got it started up again. So I need the password and all that to have access to it so that I can start to, yes, please.
Okay.
And if you send it to me, please, at my home email address and not my work email address, that's useful to me, because
So you send me an email reminding me using the email address you want me to respond to.
Okay, I'll do that. I'll do it right after the meeting.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, moving on to new business. So it's that time of year where we have to elect officers for 2021. Right now, I'm chairperson, Maura's vice chairperson, and Grace is secretary and treasurer. Is there anyone interested in any of these positions, or are there any nominations for anybody?
I'll make a motion to accept as is.
Maura, any interest in moving up on the ladder?
Lori, do you want to do something?
I would like to second that motion, because
Got it.
That's very graceful.
Why would we want to change what's already working well?
Well, I have an idea. How about we, since Grace isn't here, we make her do everything.
Yeah, right, yeah. I still want to get Beth Zimmerman back, so I nominate her. There was an agreement. So back in the old days, it was, you know, Beth, Jean, and me were the three like senior members. So Jean was chairperson, then I took over, and Beth was supposed to step
She
in.
said if we nominated her for chair, she'd quit.
Yeah, and she quit anyway. Okay, so we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion on the matter? Hearing none, all in favor of the current slate, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you to the slate.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? No. And then on to review of bylaws. Anyone have any?
Wait. I have a comment on the board. And you need to send me a picture of yourself next to an American flag so I can impose Bernie Sanders into the picture, and then we can put it up on Facebook. Jeff Gordon had one of himself with Bernie Sanders at the Woodstock Town Hall, which I thought was hilarious.
Well, can I hug the flag and be next to Donald Trump?
Oh God!
The flag.
You can't say that name.
Okay, sorry. Okay, on to review of bylaws. Anyone have any comments on the current bylaws?
I do.
Okay.
So I actually read them.
Yeah, as did I.
Okay. Article 9.
Yes.
And it's got the meetings shall be, and then it has the list. I don't know how important this is, but it's not exactly how our agendas are. So I don't know if we need to change that.
Yeah, I was going to bring that up too. I think we.
Okay.
I mean, it says you can deviate from it, but we haven't followed that agenda order as long as I've been on the commission.
Oh.
Did you look at it up, Jean? The public participation?
I haven't looked at them recently. Any change we do to the bylaws, be aware that we may have to have them reviewed by the town attorney, and there's a fee that goes with that. So even when we wanted to change the wording, some simple wording.
No, because I already did last year or the year before. There was a lot of stuff like they will do this, and it's supposed to be he, she, and it looks like it got done. So I think that was okay because it's just minor, like grammar type stuff. But I don't know if rearranging a list, I mean, that seems minor to me. That's more like, but I don't know.
What if we just get rid of it altogether?
What
if we just get rid of it altogether?
Well, it's an article. This is how the agenda will be. So I think we have to keep it, but we should just use like tonight's agenda as the future template. It's only 2 changes. There's the bylaws don't have approval amendment of minutes. They have discuss the implementation of minutes, and then public participations at the end instead of the beginning like we have it. So it's really just 2 changes.
I think those are so minor that I don't think it's worth changing the bylaws for.
And it says, unless otherwise determined by the chairperson. That's your out right there. It's been
okay. If everybody's fine, let's just someone make motion and we'll prove to.
I move we maintain the bylaws as they are written.
I'll second it. Jordan, I'll second it.
Okay. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstain? Okay. So we'll leave it the way it is, and then we'll have this discussion a year from now. Okay. Anyone have any notice of workshops, or anyone been to a workshop in the last month?
There's a bunch of ongoing wildlife programs and late winter beekeeping series through Goodwin and CFPA, if you're interested.
Oh, okay, great. Thanks, Beth. Okay, on to open discussion. Crystal, you got anything? You're muted. You're muted, Crystal.
All right, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay, so I did notice that the state of Connecticut has said we are officially out of a drought, which is good news. But it still, I think, would be worthwhile to communicate with our drought coordinator and, you know, see if we wanted to take a step of drafting an ordinance for future droughts, for drought management. But I thought that was, I just happened to stumble upon it. I was on the state of Connecticut website and it was there, and I think I put a link to it in the chat box. So that was good news.
Yeah, we invited him to come to one of our meetings. Did he respond to you?
He was not able to, he was not able to make it. He was going to be there if he could, but he's also fire chief and involved with emergency management on top of, you know, other things he does, so.
Well, it still should be something on the radar, because I think that what I've read is that New England may be in a mega drought multiple years. So that's one reason I tried to, you know, I told Jeff, let's get that aquifer overlay into their regulations.
Right.
Anything else, Crystal?
Nope.
I agree with Crystal that we should be moving forward with you know, drafting a drought management plan and using the template that is available to us and tweaking it as we need to. So this person who's already overcommitted, we can send them the template and say, we'd like to just go through this and what are your thoughts? I mean, because having the fire department involved in the drought management plan, I think is really important because of all the different places they draw water from, and they probably weren't able to this year if they needed to because of the low water levels in those areas.
I feel like everyone's overcommitted right now.
Yeah.
Gene, where's the template?
It's on the document. If you go to the state of Connecticut website to their drought management, there's a link you can download and there's a complete template. There's a draft ordinance already completed that you can take and adopt as needed. So
can we put that in the agenda? Can Grace attach that to the agenda next month and then we could review it and vote on it? Or do you want to look at it and tweak it?
I would do it in consultation with the drought manager and see if he can, you know, be at a specific meeting and do it at the meeting where he can be there and give him time to weigh in on it also.
Yeah.
Idea.
I can follow up with him if you'd like.
Yeah, please.
Awesome.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, we wouldn't pass anything. We wouldn't make anything official without his blessing, but we could okay it to send to him to be blessed. Yeah, we'll do our part, send it to him and see what, you know, have him, you know, tweak it if he needs to. But, you know, to take some, we could take some load off of him if we get involved.
Yep, I'm putting it in my work calendar for tomorrow right now.
Okay, Lori, anything up? Anything to discuss?
Nothing different than what I've already said. I think I talked more than anyone.
Okay. Jean?
Last weekend and this past weekend, the Last Green Valley did their Acorn Adventures for kids, and they were at Roseland Park looking at Roseland Lake, and the subject was eagles. And so they had Horizon Wings bring in their show eagles to let children see these eagles up close and personal, get a talk on eagles and stuff. But they also had the privilege of seeing eagles flying over or landing near Roseland Lake, which they do at a routine basis in winter until it ices over. So there's been a lot of eagle activity down at Roseland Lake. And if anybody's interested in seeing live eagles, bring your binoculars down there, scan the tree line and look for them, because they're very often just sitting in the trees looking down to see if there's something to eat. The the pictures they sent from this past week, and they were sitting on the ice, feeding on something that was there. And of course, they were there during the midwinter eagle survey as well.
Yeah,
is that Ruby that was speaking up?
Bet and I do the eagle survey, and the eagles love the tree right at our house. And so we got some good pictures of them. We do every year, and they poop all over our hot tub.
Well, that's privilege. Oh boy. That's all I got.
Hey, Maura, you got anything?
No, I was
yeah.
just that she could bag that eagle excrement, probably sell it.
I'll tell my husband.
So the wetlands agent not having enough time, only 3 hours a week project. You did say last meeting that that should go into old business, so maybe we can do it after this meeting.
No, it's your time to talk about it.
No, I know I'm going to, but I'm just saying from now on, because it hasn't been resolved.
Gotcha.
So basically I sent I emailed Mark Parker, who is the chair of the Wetlands Commission. And I basically, you know, just told him that I had talked with Tina and the wetlands agent, and, you know, she had made comments about, you know, just not only having 3 hours a week. I believe that was the amount of time. And then, and I mentioned that, you know, we, as the Conservation Commission, would like to, you know, if they're in agreement, support them and by writing a letter to the first selectman. And then, you know, Crystal had said this is good timing because this new person's coming on, and maybe, I don't know what their functions will be, but potentially somehow they may be able to do some admin, I don't know. So I just, you know, made some comments like that. And I actually sent it last week, but I have not heard back. So I'm going to follow up. And I wonder, after you said about the spam, if that might have happened, because I've never emailed him before, if it ended up in his spam. But, you know, then again, I was only, you know, I only gave him a week, so that might not be enough time. So I will follow up on that again. And, yep. What?
No, so Grace, when you're listening to the recording, include that in old business.
Yeah, I think that would be.
And then, you know, Maura, have a letter, you know, write a letter that we can, you know, I'll put my name on it and I'll send.
I will. I just, I asked him for comments if there was anything specific that they might want us to write as far as, you know, what amount of hours would be good for the position, you know, or something like that, so we can make that recommendation. But,
okay, perfect.
Yeah, so, and the other thing is, as through my work with ECCD, I am heading up a project that's going to be a 2-year project to update the Little River and Muddy Brook watershed water quality improvement plan that Jean wrote, I believe, in 2011. And Jean's going to help out with this project as well. So the goal is we're going to put in information that meets the National Water Quality Initiative, which is through NRCS. And it'll meet those requirements, so that hopefully the dedicated funding that used to be for the watershed for folks that want to do NRCS practices, that had been going on for a while, but then it was taken away. So this will hopefully bring back that dedicated funding, so they don't have to compete with the rest of the state, and they'll have funding just for that watershed. And so some of the things that we're going to put in there are like cost benefit analysis of different practices, NRCS practices, to reduce nutrients and bacteria getting into waterways from different farming practices. And also asking farmers, you know, what kinds of practices they'd be willing to incorporate. Many of you know we do have a lot of dairy farmers that participate in NRCS, and ECCD helps out as well, getting funding for them, some large grants for doing a lot of things to both help their farms and help protect water quality. But we want to actually target more than just the dairy farms. We want to have hobby farms, folks that own horses, you know, any of the smaller farms, fruit, vegetables. So to try to get them more involved with NRCS and more aware of these kinds of things. So we're going to be having a kickoff meeting. I believe it's going to be February 23rd. You all are invited. We're inviting the Agricultural Commission, all the commissions that are related in Woodstock. And Jean, this is going to go along also with Jean's, she has an existing Little River Watershed, Healthy Watershed Collaborative Group. So they're going to be invited as well. And it'll be 9 o'clock in the morning till about 10:30. And I will send out information about it. But basically, I'm going to have a couple of farmers. Matt Peckham is one of them, and Eric Young from Woodstock Orchards is also going to be there to just briefly talk about how NRCS has helped them and their farm, and then answer questions. So we're going to have a couple of different things like people talking, and so it should be interesting. And I'll talk about the project, and I hope you all can come. So I will send that info out as soon as I have it.
Right. This is Jordan. February 23rd is a Thursday, Tuesday, right?
Tuesday.
So the small farmers are invited?
Well, yeah, that's what Jean and I are going to be working on, trying to figure out how to invite. I'm actually working with NRCS to try to disseminate this information. That will be a challenge, you know, if anyone knows any of the small farmers in the watershed in Woodstock, and it's a little bit in Pomfret, and I don't think there's any farms in Putnam, even though that's a little bit in the watershed. So what's that?
Thompson too.
Yeah, I'm not sure if there's any. There might be a couple of farm fields.
There's that one that's on the Woodstock Thompson line. We'll talk about it at work.
Yeah, anyway, so we're going to be trying to come up with, you know, we want to try to invite farmers. So yeah, if anybody can help out and give us information, you know, we're going to.
My next door neighbor is Echo Farm. Their friends are, so they
all right.
I'm sure would be interested.
Yeah, that's the organic farm, right?
Yeah.
What about the young?
They're putting in a high tunnel, right?
Putting what?
A high tunnel in?
I didn't know that.
I remember I talked to Robert, and I remember him saying he wanted to put in a high tunnel. So I don't know if he did it or not.
What's that, Jordan? Did you have a
question?
question?
The youngs. The youngs.
Yeah. So Lucas is very involved, and we've done a lot for him as well. I may not have him on the panel this time because I wanted to just have one representative from dairy, one from fruit and vegetables, and you know, not have. And believe me, we're going to hit him up for other stuff probably. Like we actually want to have a group of farmers to give input. You know, have like a you know, have a group to just, you know, provide input as far as, you know, what kinds of concerns farmers have, you know, things like that.
We often have tours at Valleyside Farm to show off the practices that they've installed. And Lucas Young is a soil health champion. He's the only one in Connecticut. I don't know if there's any more now, but for a while, he was the only one in Connecticut. So he really has been implementing best management practices on his farm to the extent possible, and taking advantage of every federal dollar he can get to put into improving that farm. So.
And I
is a
think
good example of somebody who wants to work and have a less environmental impact.
And I think the good thing about this too is we're gonna, you know, bring in the Ag Commission and, you know, hopefully have a partnership with them as well. And they can work with us maybe to disseminate, you know, a lot of information. So we're hoping to build a good relationship with them.
Does anybody know about anybody who's doing really good job at composting their horse manure? That is something that is an issue. We'd love to have a representative from a horse farm and someone who's, you know, someone could be an example in that avenue.
Well, we just pile ours turns to great loam. We just pile it and put brush on it. But we're not, you know, we're not doing anything special. Just a bunch of crap.
And we could probably see your horse manure pile from space, Lee.
Right. Yeah.
You can't hide from us. We have Google Earth.
That's true that anyone who's got a lot of horses, you can see their pile from space. I know that the Barrett's horse farm, they do a lot of composting, but it's not composted with the usual format of, you know, adding worms or expecting that the worms are going to multiply. It's mostly just keeping the pile turned.
Yeah, with horses, you don't, it's not a worm compost system. But what NRCS recommends is that you actually get it up off the ground, because you can have leachate going down into the groundwater eventually. You can, and they would like it to be covered, you know. The problem is it can be expensive to build facilities for that. And most smaller horse owners, you know, it's a lot of money for these buildings. But at any rate, you know, they at least recommend throw a tarp on it if not anything else, because it can leach, you know.
Nutrients and pathogens into the surface water.
Yeah, depending on how close you are to other surface water.
Okay, Jordan, you got anything?
I was wondering what's happening with Senexit Road and 171. There's that building that's got the sign up for something, but then it looks like they're doing some land clearing, tree clearing right next to it and stuff like that. Anybody know what's going on there?
We reviewed that.
Where again on 171?
116 is Senexit Road, beginning of Senexit Road. And
yeah, gee, we reviewed that in
There's a 3-lot subdivision that got approved. Just as you go on to Senexit Road,
right,
heading north, it's on the right-hand side. That's a 3-lot subdivision going in.
So what's happened with the house though?
Well, the house will be on 1 lot, and they're going to have 2 new building lots.
Okay. Thanks. Thank you. That's it. That's all I got.
Hey, Ruby?
I've got nothing.
Beth?
I'm good.
Jean, for the letter of support for the project, did you send me an email of somebody to send it to?
Send it back to me.
What?
Just send it back to me after you sign it, and I can upload it. It's a electronic application, so I will have to upload it from my computer.
So I'll print it, sign it, take a picture of it, and then.
If that's how it works for you, sure.
That's it, yeah, okay. Okay, anything else for the good of the order? Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Okay, more a second. Okay, so at 8:20, the meeting is called to end. The meeting ends.
Good discussion, guys.
Yeah, great meeting. Thanks everybody for coming. Stay safe.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you, Lee, for all your hard work as chairperson.
Oh, you're welcome, Maura.
Thank you. Take care.
Thanks, Beardley.
Thanks, Jordan.
Bye-bye.